Hello, and welcome to another episode of Movies That Make Us. I'm Jake.
I'm Tracy.
And I'm Val.
I'm Dave the Babe.
And we have Dave the Babe in the flesh on the show. Coming to us live from two different rooms in their own house, we have Val and Dave.
I got sent to the basement because I'm bad.
We have the light and the dark.
The light and it's very fitting as we talk about Star Wars. The light and the dark.
Polar lighting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's perfect. Well, welcome, everybody. This is 2 weeks in a row, by the way. This is a new record for us lately. So
we haven't been as consistent as we usually are.
There's been a lot going on, but we're
here. Yeah. That was I didn't mean for that to sound like a negative thing.
We're starting a new streak.
A new streak.
Yeah, and we're in season 5, so I think we're just trying to make it better.
That's right. We're in season 5 for those that keep track of our seasons, because
I know I do. There's the hand. That's the famous Jake hand.
You got the Jake hand a minute and a half into the show. Well done.
What you don't know if you're watching and listening to this right now is that it is almost 8 o'clock at night, and we have Dave the Babe on. So shenanigans will occur during this episode. We have two things that will the lateness. It's a late show, and the Dave.
Yeah.
The Babe.
I think the last time I was this nervous hosting this show was at FanX a couple years ago. But we're good.
Last time I was on camera was season 5 of Cops.
Oh, I didn't remember that episode.
Season 5.
Yeah, 5.
All right.
So season 5. If you're doing a season 5 and you'd like Dave to appear on your show,
I only do season 5s. Everything else is amateur.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if they haven't done 5 seasons, if they're not on the 5th season, what are they even doing? They don't know.
By season 5, everything's rolling, but they haven't gotten over the hump yet. You know,
I was this close to saving Firefly, but they couldn't make it.
Yeah. Yeah, you would have been great in Firefly. They only needed 4 more seasons.
That's it.
Dave's never seen Firefly. Dave doesn't even know.
I saw.
She's gonna spoil. He's gonna want to lay it on, and Val's just gonna be like, no, she's not putting up with it tonight.
She tells us there will be shenanigans, and then she shuts them right down.
Yeah. Little insight to the marriage.
She's not denying.
She may be regretting you not being in the same room at this point.
She would throw so much sushi at me.
I'm not going to waste my sushi on you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, don't waste it on me either.
Yeah.
Because I won't eat it. It would be wasted on me.
Do you not eat sushi, Tracy? I don't think I knew that about you.
I don't like much fish, and if I do, it's got to be cooked.
I did not know that.
Yeah, no raw fish.
Well, let's hate them forever.
They have sushi that they cook. I don't know if you knew that.
I'm very selective on my seafood, but
okay,
that's okay.
So what other things are you racist towards?
In my
Babe,
I heard he was a racist.
It's not racist, Babe.
Oh, he likes racing.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah,
he's a runner.
Running, yeah.
Okay, it was close. It was so close.
I don't live in
That's how
Southern
people
Idaho.
get canceled on the internet, when people say the wrong things that mean something else.
Oh.
If Tracy gets canceled before you, that's going to be bad.
But on the other hand, if one of us gets canceled, it means we've made it. We're at least big enough
probably get an award.
We're going to do a viral?
Yeah, then you get.
We're going to be a viral. We'll be all over the Tic Tacs. You racist Tracy out there.
What was that?
We don't want that nickname.
All right. How about just Racy Tracy?
And that put me in a couple of things. So.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an after dark show. Okay.
Top button is undone.
Oh, that's the most I've ever
Living
seen.
up to the name. Living up to the name. Speaking of which, if you'd like to follow Racy Tracy on our OnlyFans page, we'll put the link down in the.
We have a Patreon.
We have a Patreon, yes, not an OnlyFans.
People
really
would sign up for that and then be like, "That's not what I expected."
It's just pictures of your feet in different running shoes. People would still pay for that.
Yeah. Shot of my calves every once in a while.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, it's muscular running calves.
Yeah, for the higher paying clients, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, people would get there and say, this isn't what I expected, but then they'd say, but I can't look away.
Yeah.
I'm staying now.
When it's 2:30 in the morning, it's either that or infomercials. We're taking the calves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had to speak at a conference once, and my co-presenter was named Kim, and we were both men, so he got up onto the stage and said, now, I know this wasn't exactly what you were expecting when you saw Kim and Tracy presenting, but here we are.
We're inclusive.
Yeah.
I've got a brother-in-law named Kelly. He knows your pain.
That was that, yeah. Tracy was very popular back in the 70s for guys when my mom named me, but not so much anymore.
And
yeah,
Vicky.
And which Tracy ruined it?
I broke it.
Yeah, which Tracy that just turned everything to the other side?
Probably me. Tracy Morgan was good. I'm trying to think.
It's probably Tracy Ullman.
Ooh, well.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Pulled everything back to the female side, you know.
Yeah.
I like Tracy Chapman.
Tracy Chapman is great. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know any other Tracys.
Dick Tracy.
That doesn't count.
That was a manly one.
Yeah. That is the most bizarre. Dick Tracy is still the most bizarre thing to me because Warren Beatty owns the film rights to that character.
Yeah.
And so every 5 years, he does some wacky, weird interview where he pretends to be Dick Tracy the whole time just to retain the rights to that character.
Because people are pounding down the door to get access to that IPO.
Do we have links to this?
I will find some, but they're on the internet. You can find Warren Beatty as Dick Tracy in these interviews, and they are. I gotta say,
the Dick Tracy movie is not half bad.
It's not half good either.
Fine, but why are you doing it like every 5 years?
But it's not a movie. It's just him being Dick Tracy. It's because it's something with if he does it, then he keeps the rights. If he doesn't, then he loses the rights, and it goes back to.
So he's just sitting there eating a burger like Dick Tracy.
I mean, pretty much. I'll find the links. I'll send it to you guys. We'll put it in the comments. We'll do all the stuff. But
I guess
it's wild.
Al Pacino in that film is the best part of that film.
Who is what?
Al Pacino and Dick Tracy.
I mean, his nose is pretty memorable.
Let's just be straight. I did not kidnap you. I am kidnapping you now.
Yeah.
That Al Pacino. You're welcome.
That was
good. I believed it. I was there in the moment.
Yeah.
Hoo-ah!
Hoo-ah! I know most of you probably saw the title of this episode and thought we'd be talking about the Acolyte, but surprise.
Hey, we still have 4 more minutes of just
when do we
nonsense.
Ever start right on time?
We have 15 minutes.
Well, I know. I just felt like we were
going. Spoiler alert! This is way more entertaining.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
We have opinions. We have opinions. Yeah.
Dude, if you're allergic to melatonin, boy, do I have an alternative for you.
Oh my goodness!
Well, then let's dive right in, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. Where do you want to start?
Well, how about at the beginning? Star Wars Acolyte episodes. Listen, when you're talking about an 8-part series,
right?
And you're going to do 1 or 2 episodes on it, what better place to start than after the 3rd episode has come out? A good even 3 out of 8 is when we're going to start talking about the show. That's how we do the books, right in the middle. What's that?
There was only 4 episodes.
No, there's going to be 8 total.
Oh man,
there was 4 that was released to the press.
Yeah,
and so the press have seen the first 4, but
yeah, I'm glad we're doing it now.
It's amazing, baby boom because of this. Anything is more entertaining.
Well, yeah, but that particular thing is more entertaining than a lot of things, Dave. I don't know.
Yeah. You would know.
Yeah, we don't gift wrap our presents. Look at that forehead hand.
Oh boy.
All right, so
Tracy got him.
It is amazing that this series is 8 episodes long,
Yeah.
and episode 3 still felt as rushed as it did. Like, why?
felt rushed.
Yeah, in some parts.
In terms of like
The story was rushed,
the
but
story,
the presentation was done very slow.
pacing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get this out of the way. None of us are Star Wars haters. Like, it's the cool thing to hate on Star Wars right now, and we all love and grew up and appreciate Star Wars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. We all grew up in a time when it was still cool.
I watch it for what it is. It's the pew-pews, and then I move on. I don't dig deep into the canon.
Like,
I go for the
we
face
have-
value entertainment.
We have no problem with female leads. We have no problem with people of color. We have no problem with any of that. Like, I think that Outlaws game that's coming out with the female bounty hunter looks fantastic. I'm very excited to check it out.
I even like The Last Jedi.
Here comes the butt.
That's true.
Say it, Tracy, but
Yeah.
it's I love the idea, but the execution is not there. This is not quality filmmaking, which I hate.
Yeah, I agree. I like the idea. So you've got two sisters, they're twins, they're opposites, right? Which we've seen this before. They both go two different routes. They both think each other are dead. And so that can be super interesting, especially because we've got all these side characters that are all kind of intertwined somehow with the whole story. But is it boring? Like, how do you take something that could be so interesting and the fighting and the lightsaber fights are fun, like super fun. And even we've had a couple of series come out and a couple of movies come out where the digital is not great. The special effects is not great. The only issue that I have with this one is like one of the makeup is bad, but that's like, I feel like,
the green person.
I feel like a lot of the makeup is bad.
Well, the green is the worst.
The
Oscar
green
Grouch from Temu.
I don't know the girl this week with the one of the mothers in episode 3.
Yeah.
Horns on the head and the elven ears. Like, I don't know.
It was too much mixed, but I don't see seams. I don't see mixed of colors.
I saw seams on those ears and those horns. It looked like community theater makeup to me.
Maybe it's because I fell asleep halfway through.
You did.
No. And you mentioned that they were twins, the two girls, and I would normally put a spoiler warning out there, except about 3 minutes into the show, you figure that out. That there's got to be another one. Like when she shows up and she's like it.
Well,
even the intrigue wasn't.
But it's also in the description of the show.
Is it in the description of the show?
Yeah, sister.
Well, they aren't even trying.
They tell you in like the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it bothers me too because they built this up as this murder mystery. There's no mystery here as to who killed this Jedi.
Yeah.
We watched it.
Right.
Yeah, we saw it happen.
And why are 4 Jedis doing a cold case murder?
Yeah.
It seems like these high-powered people are going after something so small that I feel like other entities can be taken care of, not Jedi. I mean,
what don't we know?
It could also be like they are trying to cover their own mistakes up, but still, I feel like
But it was being billed as this murder mystery that leads into the creation of the Sith, and it still might lead into the creation of the Sith, but they've got a lot of heavy lifting to do in 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Like the whole backstory of why the coven needs to be hidden, why they're not allowed to have children. I think they could have developed more on that than anything else, because I didn't care about anything in episode 3.
And those young girls are bad actors. And I don't like to bag on child actors, but they were like, the line delivery was so stilted.
Well,
tell that they're not two people, that they were the same person filmed and then put back in. Like when they're sitting there hitting each other, it like the sight lines weren't lining up. It was rough.
Yeah. And even Osha's desire to be a Jedi, like that just felt to me like it came out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden she's like, no, I really want to be a Jedi.
She's never heard of them. She doesn't know what they are.
Yeah, like she thinks the lightsabers look cool, but she's never seen. Like it was just
for me. What I got for that is that she really just didn't like the road ahead of her. She didn't like what her family. So the minute she saw something that was new and shiny and different, she's like, I want to do that because I definitely don't want to do this. So that part, I was actually okay. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there could have been like a little bit more lead up of maybe why she doesn't want to live the life of her family.
Right.
And I really like the fact that her family then, like, that whole coven is like, it feels culty. So let's jump into this cult in Star Wars. I think that would be super interesting because I mean, it's all a cult, right? Like, let's really get down to it. Like, every single faction is a little culty, but this one really feels like her family.
Yeah, no boys allowed, not even children. It's a sorority.
Yeah, it's weird, and I think it's supposed to feel weird, but I also feel like, to your point, Val, where she just wants to get away from that. I don't understand why she wants to get away from that, because if you grow up in that kind of an environment, you don't sit there and think, oh, my parents and this whole witch thing, that seems bad and dark to me. Like, that's just what you grow up with. And so I don't know, like, I didn't understand why OSHA was drawn away from it.
I think you need to have her have been exposed somehow to a little bit of the outside world where she's like, I want to go to that.
Yeah.
Because something, if, like you said, Jake, if you're living in this enclosed cult-like family, and then something new gets introduced to you, you're not going to be like, I want that. It's going to be like, that's weird, that's foreign, I'm not interested, it's scary.
That's why we don't let our kids interact with other people. We don't want them to think that other people are good. And that's not true.
Dave gave the face palm.
I was also really disappointed because at the end of episode 2, they teased us with the Wookiee Jedi.
Yeah.
How much of the Wookiee Jedi did we get in episode 3?
You got a little.
30 seconds of a Wookiee Jedi. Right. It was bait, like clickbait.
Yeah.
It was clickbait. I was mad, so then I just shut it off and went to sleep. I'm like, this is a bunch of BS.
And most of what we get with the Wookiee Jedi is him fixing the ship. I'm like, come on, man. What a stereotype.
Yeah.
Starships? Come on.
Wookiees are more than just mechanics.
I thought, here we get a Jedi Master. He's going to be awesome. No, just a mechanic. Just a glorified mechanic that they gave a lightsaber to.
So do the Wookiees need a union? Is that what you're saying?
Probably.
Or at least representation, like some kind of like spokesperson, some kind of PR person?
I think if they had a union, it would be great. The film industry, they'd stand their ground until the first producer lost his arms, and then it's like, okay, we're giving the Wookiees what new plan in our negotiations. Let the Wookiees win.
To early Italian American unionization of the Northeast.
Yeah, it would be similar to that.
Yeah,
I think all of us that really liked Star Wars Episode 3, and we saw the Wookiees when they go, to their planet. Yoda is there. We've got the Wookiees. Like, we've been excited since that point to see the Wookiees in a bigger part of the story than just like these little flashes. And I mean, Chewie's the best. Like, but we want to see more of it. And then they teased more, and I'm still waiting for the and more. They gave us like one little taste, but they basically flipped us off.
They're like,
that's how I feel.
And I feel like that happens a lot with series where it's like, okay, here's the cliffhanger, and now we're going to take you into this. We know now you're going to come back for the resolution of that cliffhanger or the resolution of that cool thing that you saw. So we're going to give you something completely different so that you'll come back in the 4th episode. Because honestly, that's probably the biggest reason I'll tune in for the 4th episode.
Classic drug dealing.
What was the end of the 3rd episode? Because again, sleeping.
It was the young girl being sad that she thought her sister was dead. Yeah.
After her sister, and talk about Stockholm Syndrome, it's after her sister locked her into a room and started it on fire. And that she thought her sister was dead.
And what was the deal with that door? That little portal door that opened up that she crawled into?
Little hatch thing, yeah.
What's the purpose of that?
That appeared to be a room carved out of rock. So how did it catch on fire so quick?
That is the most flammable door I have ever seen in my entire life.
I'm going to
made of gasoline.
And the door.
Yeah.
And the problem is, if we start asking these questions, the response is going to be, well, it was the Force. She was using the Force. Because that's...
Force fires.
Yeah.
Only you can start force fires.
Well,
Only you can prevent
force
force fires.
Well, then in this case, we started it.
Yeah.
May started the fire.
On purpose, again, to murder her sister.
Burning since the show was started. I don't know. Get back to me. Jake, don't do that.
Burning since the Jedi oh.
We don't need to finish it.
I didn't have anything to step in with. I was just enjoying the song for a minute.
So what do you guys think would, like, which direction or plot flaw do you think, if they corrected it, would make this show good?
There's not just one.
Okay, but pick one.
Probably the biggest one for me is making me care about the backstory to the young girls.
Yeah.
Like, I cared more about them and the adults where they're fighting one another. Like, that was interesting. There's a lot of mystery as to why they're fighting. There's more passion to it. But the young girls and them growing up in this coven, there is lacking a lot of backstory of why they are the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole episode 3 was a big flop for me, whereas episode 1 and 2 had a cool little whodunit thing, and they chased to find the culprit. Like when they found the one got the poison and the Torben. I think that was interesting to me, but everything else was kind of like a slow ride, and I'm not really caring about where it started from.
Yeah, and this to me feels like a lot of inside baseball fanfic. Like, the guy's in his meditative state, and then I get articles the next day. They're like, that came from a Darth Vader comic from 1999, and then this character came from this old story written by Dave Wolverton that's now returned, and it's like, it wasn't canon, but now it is, and it just feels like there's a lot of that when you start going with the witches and you start doing the virgin birth and stuff like that. It's like, it just to me feels like this is like all the stuff that the hardcore Star Wars guys,
which is totally fine.
Which is fine.
Give us, give us a little more insight. Us surface nerds,
right?
Like, you can bring all the stories out of the woodwork that you want, but you need to help us along. Like, you need to put our training wheels on and like help us through the situation. Because I can watch things that I've never read the book, I've never played the video game, and they're giving me enough information and good pacing that I'm catching on. We're not idiots,
right?
But if it's like when somebody's telling an inside joke, they think that you already know what's in their head, but they're really just saying half of it out loud.
Well,
being smug about it.
I think to Dave's point, is not caring about the character. Like the very first episode of the very first Mandalorian season, when he walks into the bar and he's like, I can take you in cold, or I can take you in warm, or I can take you in cold. And you're like, okay, he's cool.
Yeah.
Like, you were like invested. And then he's like cutting the guy in half with the door. And you're like, okay, there's nothing here that makes me go, I want to know more about these two girls.
The first episode I did, but after that, no.
After that,
Yeah, every single notable character in Star Wars has their moment.
Right.
Yeah.
All have their moment that makes people want to dress up as them and go to a show.
Right.
And I'm not really seeing that.
I think the only one that I may have seen that is Indara, the Jedi Master at the beginning, doing the martial arts fighting.
So that is good. Like the martial arts scene and the fighting, that was very engaging. I like seeing that portion of it as opposed to just them relying on lightsabers. It really shows that lightsaber is like the last tactic or for higher powered stuff. So it's cool they can show restraint. That was interesting. And I enjoyed the character that was trying to assassinate her. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed her whole dynamic. But again, the young girl's backstory and their show, their moment, it's lost. And I think that's what we have to work on the most, is making us care about the backstory and care about why their mom's dead and why they split. And
and then I have more questions too after this episode. Like, we see all the witches are dead, but we don't see any kind of wound. We don't know of any kind of battle. So what the heck?
Yeah.
There.
That thing was made of like just balsa wood, tinder match. Like,
it was all
if anyone breathed wrong, that thing was going to go up in flames.
Uh-huh.
So it's interesting, Val. You asked what would be different, and I think part of my struggle with this, and Tracy, you brought up the Mandalorian, and Dave, you brought up the moments that Star Wars characters have. What I loved about the Mandalorian is it brought us into a part of the Star Wars universe that was new and different that we hadn't really seen on screen before. We didn't know a lot about Mandalorian culture. Like, they built a lot of that for the show, and there was a lot of backstory, and I know you can dig and get a lot of that information, but they built a lot of it for the show, and I thought that was interesting. The bounty hunter, the Mandalorian piece, all of that. With this, they tease that, like, hey, we're going to give you Jedis that are not. This is like 200 years before the Skywalker saga, so there's not going to be anything Skywalker in it. Right. But then what do they give us? They give us twins that were separated at a young age and didn't know that the other one was still alive or existed.
Right.
They give us those twins are born without a father, just like Anakin didn't have a father, so some kind of force worky-walkie thing going on there to make that happen. I don't know.
They also were checking midichlorians.
Yeah. So they gave us everything that we've had in Star Wars before in the Skywalker saga. They just are throwing it on new characters.
Well, and I was reading some articles that people were like, well, this is just really, deep information. It's going to be a slow burn because, it's a little more intellectual. Andor is the same.
Yeah.
Andor, we get a lot of information that we don't know about, and it's some heavy stuff. It's not regular Star Wars, and you can follow it just fine. And the characters are interesting. The casting was phenomenal. So, yeah, you can give us heavy stuff that's, a little bit more deep than this. And don't get mad at me, Star Wars fans, like fluffy, regular Star Wars stuff.
Right.
And it's just fine. And I really wanted this show to be good because I was excited about this dynamic. But right now, the pacing is just awful.
Is rough. And then the other thing, like when I was saying with the makeup looks awful on almost all the characters. And the backdrops, like the volume we know from The Mandalorian can do some incredible things. There's some shots in the Mandalorian series where you're like, that looks incredible. This looks like, at times, it looks like community theater or like cable TV production value. Like there's one shot where she comes out of the spaceship after having the test, and she's standing and they have the woods behind her, and it looks like a green screen freeze frame that somebody CGI'd in there behind her. Like there was no depth to that shot. It looks like a painted backdrop was dropped behind her on a green screen that somebody was
young and syphilis.
Yeah.
Restless.
Well, and then there's just a lot of stuff that didn't work. There's the scene where they're doing the surveillance on the guy that runs the shop that's her contact. Right. And they're doing this sneaky surveillance out in the open, dressed as Jedi, like just standing out there, and like the guy doesn't notice that they're watching him. And I'm thinking, now, like, he must be the worst kind of espionage spy person ever that he doesn't see that, or that she doesn't see it when she comes back. Like
the classic FBI van that
saw
flowers.
The equivalent, it was the Star Wars equivalent of the
minivan.
I
think the guys in suits.
I think he's going to be the ultimate bad guy.
Who?
The shopkeeper guy that helped assist at the beginning.
Yeah, so there was an article about him that he is a deeper character. So I would only watch if I knew, like continue watching if I knew we were going to jump into his character, because he's supposed to be like this rogue bounty hunter that's trying to fall off, the grid and has like kind of a seedy background.
I think he's the Sith guy. I think he's the zipper hooded, the gimp from Pulp Fiction that has the red lightsaber up on the cliff. Tell me you've seen shots of that character. Tell me.
Yeah, I just pictured it. I don't
No, but I mean, you've seen the stills.
Darth Gimp.
They have the Star Wars people have released an official picture of this character, and he's got like a zipper mouth and no eyes, and it's in this hood, and
And you think that's him?
I think that's the guy that's that character.
Okay.
That's my thought.
Darth Hot Topic.
I love it. I think what I would change the most in this, though, I wouldn't have it be twins.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be much more intriguing if it was Osha and there's this dark side to her that's being controlled by whoever this guy is, the zipper face guy.
Mhm.
And she doesn't know that she's murdering these Jedi or that she's doing these things. I think that would have been much more intriguing than what they're doing.
Well, we saw the witch take over the Jedi and turn his eyes black, and
yeah,
so I could see something like that. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah. So to go back to yours, Jake. So yeah, if she were to think she had a sister because that was like her second personality.
Yeah.
Right? But then it's not actually her sister, it's her. And these two, she thinks she's two separate people, but she's not. That would be interesting. Like
Mhm.
she's
Memento.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't like that movie, but I like the idea.
And it's not too late, Acolyte. You guys could do this. Just reshoot the last 5 episodes. Whole story.
Because 4 have been released to the press, so some people out there know what happens next. So
Yeah.
really, they've got 4 episodes to fix it. But guys, we're almost halfway through this series, and do we really know what this series is about?
No.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know what to look forward to. Where
Right.
you know, you watch any other series and it pulls you to the next episode. And for me and Dave, I don't know about you guys, we're like, oh my gosh, we have to watch another one. You know, it's
getting there.
Like, I don't want to watch another one, but I also want to find out if this guy, you know, what he's up to, but I'm just going to let somebody else watch it and be like, so should I watch episode 4 or should I skip to 5?
Valerie's like, tell me when the Wookiee Jedi shows up. I'll pop in and then I'm back out.
Well, and the bad guy.
Yeah.
I just want a good bad guy, you
Uh-huh.
know? Something interesting needs to happen because right now it's a big fat yawn fest.
And that's the thing, like you can have a slow burn and you can have this kind of this build, but what are we building towards? What are we going against? I mean, the one sister's trying to kill the 4 Jedi. For what purpose? Like, what's the end goal? She's supposed to do one without any weapons. So what happens if she succeeds?
Yeah, for all the flashbacks that we saw of the young girls, there wasn't any of the young Jedi. Like, what led them to this horrible thing that's getting them murdered now? So having some like insights of what they were doing however many years ago, 12, 16 years ago, I forget what the number is.
But
Well, the one Jedi said
those are the 4 Jedi that come and do the Jedi testing. Those are the 4 Jedi that she's murdering.
Right.
Yeah, but like, I would like to see a little more of
did
their.
they deserve to have her get so hateful that she's other than they took my sister away?
Yeah.
But they didn't, her sister volunteered herself.
Well, and it doesn't paint the Jedi in a very positive light either. That they just go to these places where there are kids that are force sensitive and do actually just take the children. I don't care what Soul says, where he's like, "Oh, we don't take children." Yeah, that's what you just did. Like,
Well, and it was weird too because the mom's
a creepy
like,
guy in a cloak and a weird stick took your child away.
I tell my kids all the time not to go with that guy.
but the mom is
told
like,
that from the whole like early programs, don't talk to strangers.
Yeah.
and the mom's like, hide, don't make a noise, and then the kids make a noise, and mom's like, oh well, and then the daughter's like, well, I want to go be a Jedi. Okay, you know, it's like, what?
And they're the worst guidance counselors ever because they're what, 12? What do you want to do the rest of your life? You're 12.
Yeah. And we'll let you go with the Jedi, and you can never see us again, and you can never spend time with us. You can never come back. So see ya. Bye.
Well, but what also doesn't make sense is they're too old to start training as Jedis.
Right.
If you go with the Jedi like rule of thumb, that's why Anakin was messed up
Anakin was
so
too
bad.
old, and he was younger than they are because I think they're like 12 or something.
Yeah, and the one Jedi says, I started when I was 4.
Yeah, and I think that's more the norm.
Yeah.
But maybe what happens here is why they didn't want to take Anakin when he was 8, and they felt like
they messed up here.
Yeah,
maybe this is when the rules got put into place.
Maybe they didn't have that rule back then.
We really messed up kidnapping these older kids, so we'll kidnap them when they're young and nobody.
And
they screwed up this time, and that's why they came up with OSHA regulations.
Oh boy, that was good. I like that one. That one was good.
For those not watching this episode, you missed Dave's dramatic head to the left, head to the right, head to the left, straight down the barrel of the camera to deliver that line.
It was beautifully done.
No notes. No notes. Print, we got it.
Chef's kiss.
But when you think about what the Jedi do, like that's the other thing I was thinking as I was watching it. Like this is what they do. They take these kids really young, cut off all their connection.
Right.
Like you're not supposed to have any kind of connection to people.
That's Cult 101.
And yeah, so where Val said they're all kind of cult-like, yeah, that's definitely what a cult would do. Like, oh yeah, we're going to cut you off from all of your ties, and you only have us.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because the last little while we seem to be having kind of a deconstruction of the Jedi, and it's kind of like going down the Zack Snyder deconstruction of superhero type of thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of, in a way, I kind of miss the Jedi, the innocence of Luke Skywalker coming in to save the day, and he's the good guy. Like I like I'm going to contradict myself because often I talk about how I like shades of gray for my characters, but I feel like we're going down this road really heavy for a while, and I kind of wish we would kind of come back and the Jedi would be a little bit more in a positive light. But
I think there's, for so long we've had like the very strong good versus evil,
right?
And we had that. Oh, spoiler alert! Vader turns like good at the very end before he dies. So like having that redemption arc, and then that's what started, I think, the gray areas. But yeah, I think you're right. They should have some more just truly noble, positive guys, and I think Soul is trying to capture that.
Mm-hmm.
But having these, they put him in a situation where it takes away from his good virtues,
and
that's unfortunate. If they're going to have like a gray area Jedi 4-guy council to take a 12-year-old. They could have done a better delivery. Again, better delivery in all of the story building so far.
And here's the sad part: that guy, he was in Squid Game, is Korean, came over and had to learn the English lines because he doesn't speak English. And I think that he is a better actor than some of the native speaking actors that we have on this show.
Yeah.
He's really good. We've talked a lot of negative on this show, but there are some good things in it, and I think his character is one that I've appreciated, and his performance, I think, has been really good.
Yeah,
I feel like as much as I like him, he's the emo Jedi that we never had.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think there's something there where there was a responsibility of his when he was in the classroom, and he found out there's a responsibility he has to be held accountable for, and that's noble. I really enjoy seeing this guy trying to do right and fix the wrongs without being shady or hide anything.
Right.
So I'm really interested in that story. I'm really interested in May and her revenge thing that she's doing. Like, I want to know more about all her inner workings of how she found the Jedi and how she plans on taking them down, and how she honed her skills for so long with that mysterious character. So I think there is a lot of positives there, but the slow periods are just too long and it kind of drowns out the good ones. And I think there could be just a little bit more of that fun development that we like.
Yeah. I would like to see more of some of the side characters. Like I don't want to see more of Yord. We saw plenty of Yord in the first episode when he didn't have a shirt on, and that was enough. But I want to see more of his interaction with the other Padawan and some of that kind of stuff. I want to see more of that because that's interesting to me, that kind of dynamic and that interaction between team members, things like that. And I think that's lacking in the series right now because we get it little bits, but not a lot.
Yeah, at the end of episode 2, when she's like, "I'm going to give you this poison, and you're going to kill yourself because you feel so bad about what happened, and you feel so guilty," and you're going, "What did these 4 do? That's kind of cool." And then we get this flashback, and they showed up, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to come be a Jedi? Cool, let's go." And then the sister burns the place down. They take the girl because they think everybody's dead, and somehow this is supposed to rack them with guilt for the rest of their lives.
Yeah,
nobody asked questions after the fire. Nobody did an investigation.
Yeah.
It's really weird. I thought the same thing, Tracy, because as they kept talking about it, I thought, okay, the story that Soul is telling is obviously not the truth, because he said, we took you off the planet. Your sister started the fire. She was lost in the fire. We thought she died. We didn't know that she was still alive, or else we would have gone back for her. I'm like, as you know, when Torben takes the poison and kills himself, I'm thinking, no, there's more to this, and they knew she was alive, and they're covering this up, and they're hiding it. And then we see it, like you said, Tracy, and it is basically what Soul said happened.
Yeah. Unless they're going to do a Rashomon where you're telling the story with different viewpoints.
Yeah.
They have different opinions. But do we really want to watch this episode again from a different point of view?
No. I don't know that I want to watch this episode again from this point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm mad that we're talking about it. There's other things.
Dave,
it's hot out there.
Anger has taken control of Dave's emotions.
No, that's next week's episode, Tracy.
Yeah, next week we are going to talk about Inside Out 2.
So, I was so excited for this one because I'm like, okay, a story about the creation of the Sith. That's cool. That's interesting. Let's go. A murder mystery, kind of like if we want to do a noir. That poster's not bad. I'm not usually a big fan of the double head, big head people, but that poster's not bad.
I might have one in my car for you, Tracy.
I was just thinking, you've got a murder mystery, you've got a time of the Star Wars universe we've never seen before. We're dealing with the Sith and this shadowy infiltration of the Jedi, and we don't have any of that so far, and we're 3 out of 8 episodes through it.
Yeah,
and the backstory just doesn't really sell this guy to be stuck in meditation for however many years.
Yeah.
And then just comes to the conclusion that poisoning himself is the way out.
Right. Okay.
And when you meditate for that long, like, do you not have to eat or use the restroom?
It's a special kind of meditation. The Force keeps you alive. It's fun. I don't know, Val. I thought the same thing. I'm like, he's just been sitting there for that long.
It just sounds like the Jedis are full of crap, and he still is. He never let it go. Maybe that's why he did it. Like he couldn't do it. He couldn't for 10 years.
Val, I think part of the thing that I noticed, especially tonight, and I think this might be part of the pacing issue, is a lot of the cuts are happening at the end of the sentence. And if I'm noticing that kind of specific edit, that means I don't care about your story. Unless I'm like, okay, I've seen this, now I know the story, I'll go back in and I'll try and break some of the stuff down. But they're literally cutting the shot when the person finishes the shot or finishes a sentence, and that draws attention to it. What you want to do is you want to have the dialogue overlap the edit to hide that seam, and I think that's part of the pacing issue. Not all of it. I think the script's got a lot of pacing issues.
I was going to say, I think the script is a big part of the pacing issue.
The delivery's stilted, too. Everybody feels so wooden, except for, what's his name, Soul?
Soul, yeah.
He feels like a natural, but everybody else feels like they're Shatner reading scripts.
And it's weird because in Star Wars, I expect that to a certain degree.
Right.
Like in some of the prequels and even in some of the sequels and the original trilogy, there is a lot of that woodenness. I know Mark Hamill commented on when he auditioned for the part of Luke Skywalker and read for it. He's like, what am I saying? This is the most ridiculous dialogue. And so, like, you expect a certain amount of that in Star Wars, but this just takes it to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so when we're saying it's wooden for Star Wars, that's really bad.
Yeah. And when I talked about this on Good Things Utah, I gave it a B-, and I said, it's a B-, but we're only 2 episodes in. Let's see where it goes. And after tonight, I don't know if we're going to get better. I hope so, but we're running out of time.
I just think we're on 2 different wavelengths. You're on your path, I'm on mine, and we may have to go separate ways, Acolyte.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about Tracy. I'm like, what did Tracy say to get up?
Fluffy cakes.
I was going
to... thought he was breaking up with you, Tracy. It was a little bit scary.
I think Dave should give Jake his first tattoo. That's what I think.
If the Acolyte redeems themselves and becomes a good show, Jake has to get a good tattoo.
Ooh.
I'm not in the market for a tattoo, guys. I don't know how to...
We're not asking you.
But would you take that bet?
No.
So you don't think that, are you sure that the Acolyte's not going to get better? Because if it doesn't get better, you don't have to get tattooed.
It's not a bet that he would ever want to take. It's
Right.
against his every being in his body.
The problem with that wording is the Acolyte. If the Acolyte doesn't get any better, or no, if whatever it is, like the Acolyte has to just get a little bit better, and then I'd have to get the tattoo. And the problem is they've set the bar so low that it's got to get a little bit better. Like this will end with some action sequences. There will be a climax. There will be exciting moments between now and the end of the show. It might be episode 8 before we see it, but there will be some of that in this show that will be better than what we have seen so far.
And
we'll
it's interesting too.
We'll get him.
What, Dave? Sorry.
One of these days we'll get him.
No, you won't.
We'll get him.
Not even.
But I was thinking as we were leading up to the show, there wasn't a whole lot of hype. There wasn't a whole lot of footage. Disney wasn't really pushing this, and I'm thinking, I think they might have something here, and they don't want to spoil it because so often we complain about all the good stuff was given away. And I'm kind of wondering if Disney realized they don't really have much here, and so they were just like.
But they did a whole 2-episode screening for.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
For a whole audience of fans. And so for me, I thought that was a good sign. Like, here, we're going to get you excited. We're going to show you on the big screen. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what's going on with this series. So, and it's weird because, like, for a while, they were like, all these people are going to be making movies. We were going to get a Taika Waititi. We were going to get, sorry, my brain fried tonight. The Wonder Woman director, Patty Jenkins.
Oh, yeah, Patty Jenkins.
We were going to get Patty Jenkins with a Rogue Squadron. We were going to get a Damon Lindelof written film. We were going to get a Kevin Feige Star Wars film. And all those have been basically wiped. That we've got Daisy Ridley coming back. But
you know what I really think would save this?
I like Daisy.
I do too.
I do too, but I don't know where we go with that character.
I really think episode 5
is the make or break.
Nostalgia from Inside Out needs to come in
and
save the day.
Do you remember when we liked Star Wars?
With like a lightsaber and be like the Yoda nostalgia.
Oh,
and
nostalgia with a lightsaber. I would watch the heck out of that. Yes.
She'd save it. She'd save the whole show.
Well, I was gonna say when you said episode 5, I was thinking you meant like that's gonna be the turning point because after that,
it needs to be.
It has to be because after that, you're gonna go heading into the conclusion.
I mean, I know a lot of series in the last, I want to say 3 years. Episode 4 is usually like, okay, wow,
right?
Like that's when they turn it. So if episode 4 is slower than episode 3. Then they better really pull something out in episode 5 because right now, like, I could think of 20 other things I'd rather do than watch the next episode of this series.
Yeah.
And one of them could be clipping Dave's toenails.
Yeah, sometimes they shoot off and hit soda cans and make that old Western sound.
But I don't clip them. You clip them.
Everybody else in the house is like the bartender in the old Western.
Yeah. It's sad, Val. I really. So X-Men 97 was one of my favorite things that Disney Plus has put out in a long time.
Right.
I really enjoyed every episode, and I looked forward to Wednesdays because it was like, it's new X-Men Day. I'm going to watch X-Men 97. And I thought, well, maybe Acolyte, I'm going to give this a shot. Maybe this will be filling that. It's not. Like, I'm not looking forward to Tuesdays and it coming out Tuesday evening.
I wanted to like it.
I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not hitting like on hardly any level right now for me, which is frustrating.
Yeah.
But you know what'll change it? Turn it around. That purple lightsaber whip that they've teased in some of the footage. That'll change everything.
With a Wookiee.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones lightsaber.
Sorry, I didn't mean to ruin it for you, Dave. When you see it on screen, try to act surprised.
That's going to be the turning point moment, Jake. That's when we're all like, okay, we're in.
Now I'm on board.
I mean,
call him Sip Jones.
We'll see. I think with Moon Knight, I I was a little like the first couple episodes, it was interesting, but I'm like, what is going on here? And then episode 4, I was like, holy crap. And then I was in. But like the first 3 episodes, I was kind of like, I don't know if I like this character. I don't know what's going on here. So it could be that, although it wasn't boring, even though it was kind of all over the place because I didn't know the backstory of it. But there's a couple of interesting things, but it seems like they're not going down those rabbit holes. They're giving us a whole bunch of other information that pertains to nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know they turned the reins over to Dave Filoni, and I know that a lot of people are like, Dave Filoni's the encyclopedia of Star Wars. He's the best thing to ever happen to Star Wars. I've heard great things about the Clone Wars. I can't get into it. I thought Rebels was fun, but it wasn't like the greatest show ever to me. And I'm starting to go, I don't know if I'm a fan of what Filoni thinks is good outside of when he works with Jon Favreau.
Yeah. I mean, I've been told with Clone Wars, because I couldn't deal with the first 4 seasons of that animation. It basically, the animation of Clone Wars really develops into something else. And everybody tells me, because I know enough about Star Wars to understand, is that just to skip to season 5.
Yeah, season 5. What's that?
Season 5 of Clone Wars. And so I might jump into that. And then they had their new show, the animated show that just came out.
Bad Batch?
No, Bad Batch came out last year, and we have a couple seasons.
I couldn't get into that one either.
Couple of seasons. No, this one.
Tales of the Empire?
Tales of the Empire. There were some characters in that I really liked that are like in this show where they're kind of dark. I'm trying to figure out why this character is so against everyone else. And there were some things that were intriguing, but it was also, okay, but why are you telling me about these characters? Because you're not pulling in all the stories. So why show me? So this is both of those, this show and that one, is kind of the same. Like, you're giving me some interesting things, but then I feel like you don't have enough story to spread it out this long.
Right.
Into so many episodes. So you're just filling it with weird things.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank goodness this isn't like old school TV where they'd have like 22 episodes for a season.
Ugh.
Although I did hear that they've already greenlit a second season of The Acolyte. So
why?
We'll see.
I mean, maybe they have ideas and they're just taking forever to get there, but
yeah.
But maybe by the end of season 1, we're all going to be like, I can't wait for season 2 because we've got to know.
I hope so.
I do too.
Hope so.
I do too.
You would think with all the competition in streaming services and shows from all sorts of ranges, that writing and production, especially a huge company like that, you can get a little bit more out of it. And I think that's the biggest disappointment of it, when you know there's potential with them and they just let you down.
I think they're having a DC Warner Brothers moment where they're trying to make something for everyone instead of stepping back from the content and saying, we should make something really good. You've got a whole bunch of the very intense Star Wars fans that are reading all the fan fictions, reading the regular fictions, so I don't piss anybody off by saying fan fiction.
Right.
They're deep into the books, and so they're trying to give them something now because they've been whining and complaining about all of the, the new episodes of Star Wars and how they're not canon and they don't make sense. And they're basically saying what we're saying about this show about the last 3 movies, right?
Right.
So here they are trying to give them something, but at the same time, so maybe this one just isn't for us. You know what I mean?
And we are a big believer in like what you like. And if you guys love it, more power to you. I'm glad. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But like, I love a certain section of Star Wars and there's other stuff that I don't like, and that's okay. But this one is just not working for me right now.
Yeah.
And it's not even so much that like Star Wars is letting me down. Like, bad writing is bad writing.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Like, I enjoy all the Star Wars movies for what they are. I'm not one way or the other, or they screwed this up, made this mistakes, whatever. If it's entertainment, it's entertainment. And I feel like this just misses the mark on more of a just production level rather than, I'm not getting my fan favorite thing done. Like, I want to see more Jedi. I'm not seeing that. I'm just mad about it, so I hate it.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the case.
It is for me. If you're going to tell me there's going to be Wookiees, show me the Wookiees.
But that is fair. You throw a Wookiee Jedi in there, we better see it. Like, he better be like episodes 5 through 8.
Val just did it all for the Wookiee.
All of it.
All for the
All of
Wookiee.
it.
All for the Wookiee.
All of it.
I wonder, to your point, Dave, if part of the problem is that there is so much Star Wars now. Because I think about it like with Marvel, for example. Marvel was on a real hot streak. Yeah. And there's just so much of it now.
Yeah, fluffy cakes.
I offended Tracy. He's gone. We'll see if he rejoins us in a minute. But there's so much Marvel stuff now that they're not putting the same time and effort into everything that they're putting out. Like Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania was just not great.
No.
And there was a lot of stuff that came out around that same time that just wasn't as good. And I feel like when you're making a trilogy of movies, you're going to put all of your effort into those movies and try to make them the best that you can. But when you're making one of 10 movies that are coming out that year or 10 series that are coming out that year, I don't know, the effort kind of goes away a little bit.
Yeah, and also they set their own bar. They set their own standard.
Tracy, you sound like a droid is talking to us through one of those little, the little communicators that look like Star Wars. Niner.
Is that any better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, computer dad had to switch to the phone quick. So.
Yeah,
I thought I offended you, and so you were like, "I'm out of here."
That's it. I'm out.
Yeah, they set their own standard for both Marvel, Star Wars. We now expect a certain quality and storyline engagement, certain action sequences, and it's okay to try something different, but there are some things you still have to nail in your own way. So maybe we're sick and tired of lightsaber battles, but we got that awesome martial arts scene the first handful of minutes. Like, that was rad. That was a cool dynamic. And then
with the Witch Coven, we've seen in the Witcher series, they have a whole Witch Coven thing that's like a separate story in dark, and some of them don't like each other, and some of them are against, the whole crew and want to go off on their own, and it all makes sense. Like, if you want to do that, that's fine, but you've got to give us the full story of the characters, and maybe that's what they're building up to. But again, you've got to hook us. It's like a song. You gotta hook us into a little bit of that so we care enough to go to the next episode. And right now, I do not care about any of these characters.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the Wookiee.
Yep.
Does the Wookiee even have a name?
Yeah, it's like Kelbaka or something like that.
And where's the droid?
It's her.
The Game Boy.
Yeah,
we don't get it enough. We don't get it enough.
Yeah. All right. Well, now we have to give it a grade because that's what we do on this show. So, I'll start. Tracy, you mentioned it being a B-. I think that's probably about where it's at. I would maybe even go down to a C+ from what we've seen so far. I say that with the hope and the optimism that there's 5 episodes left that could turn me around and turn this into a B or a B+. It's never going to be an A. Those 3 have brought it way down that it can't ever be an A, but we'll see.
Yeah, let's hope they bring it up on the midterm. But I think a C is accurate. I saw them. I don't want to see them again, and I'm not going to tell you to see them. So hopefully 5 through 8 is going to change my mind. I think hopefully it has the opposite effect of Game of Thrones, where we're like, you got to watch this, and the last season we're like, don't watch it. Don't do that.
Do watch House of Dragon though. That's good.
It's all right.
I liked it.
It's good. It's I don't know. Maybe it's just because we're so used to certain. I'm so used to certain Game of Thrones characters, kind of like the new Marvel stuff. Like, I'm just kind of over it. They're not giving me anything like new. It's the same storyline kind of deal. But it was okay. It wasn't awful. I'm not going to see it again.
Yeah. With this one, I thought after the first 2 episodes, I gave it a B-. Right now, I'm like probably a C-. This episode was an F. This episode brought it down way.
This episode's definitely an F.
And we've still got 5, so there's time to bring it up. But next week's the midterm, so you better step it up or you're really going to be hurting.
Yeah. You're a liar, Acolyte, and you're a stinker, and you get a C- from me. So you can't suck and lie at the same time and want me to come hang out with you. One or the other, but not both.
You can suck, you can lie, but you can't suck and lie if you want to hang with Valerie.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good life philosophy.
That's why I lie.
He does. He's a liar.
But at least he doesn't suck. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
So, for those that listen to our show, you know that when we're all down in the seas, that is low for us. We don't typically go down that low.
That's rarefied air.
Yeah.
It's so low they brought me on as entertainment.
I don't think any of us knew that it was going to be in the lower grade. I feel like you need to come back when there's a show or a movie that we all praise so that we can not have. This was such like kind of a depressing show because I just feel
next week I think you'll enjoy it more.
Yeah.
Inside Out 2, I think we're going to have a different feelings, different emotions.
We're going to have all the emotions.
Yeah. There you go. Jake got it.
Yeah, all of them. All right. Well, there you go. There's Star Wars: The Acolyte. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to check this out. You're going to watch it. Whatever we said here today isn't going to change that, and we understand that. We're not trying to. If you're a casual fan and you wanted to check it out and you thought, what is this whole Star Wars thing about? Start with something else. This isn't it. So, in the meantime, though, make sure you like and subscribe our YouTube channel. Like this video. You don't like a channel, just ignore that part. But also, we appreciate your support. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And until next time, we won't see you at the movies.
Check out Dave Man Tattoos on Instagram.
Yes,
yeah, check me out. Get tattooed by me.
This has been an Age of Geek media production.